Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Routledge History of Literature in English, part 49. So let's dive in the world of literature. Victorian poetry is however of major importance and the most popular poet of the age, Alfred, later Lord Tennyson, is as much a representative figure as Dickens. In Memoriam, Arthur Henry Hallam is the key work of Tennyson, a series of closely linked but separate poems. It is, in effect, an elegy on the death of a close friend, Arthur Henry Hallam, who died in 1833 at the age of 22. Tennyson worked on the poem between 1833 and 1850, and it was published anonymously in 1850. In Memoriam became hugely popular, especially with Queen Victoria after the death of her husband Prince Albert in 1861. Such melancholy is sometimes reinforced in poems such as The Lady of Shalott by a background of medieval legend in which a dreamlike atmosphere of brooding tragedy is created. However, there is more than emotion and simple feelings in Tennyson's work. The brook gives a first person voice to a stream in a vision of eternity. In the book, two lines are given from the poem The Brook. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Although Tennyson is not normally regarded as an observer of social realities, in Locksley Hall he presents a vision of social unrest and disturbance which was later to influence W. H. Auden in the 1930s. Before the publication of In Memoriam, Tennyson had published a wide range of poems, of which poems published late in 1832 is taken as the starting point of his career. Poems, chiefly lyrical, published in 1830, does, however, contain some significant work. The best of Tennyson's early poems are dramatic monologues, a form which became highly developed in the hands of his contemporary, Robert Browning. Mariana, published by Tennyson in 1830, already contains a note of despair, as the abandoned heroine, inspired by Shakespeare's Measure for Measure, waits for her lost lover. He has written other dramatic monologues such as Ulysses, written in 1833, published in 1842, and then he has also written Tithonus, written in 1833 and published in 1860. After the death of the nation's hero, the Duke of Wellington, commemorated by Tennyson as the last great Englishman in an ode in 1852, the Crimean War introduced a note of futility, and the charge of the Light Brigade commemorates one of the most futile moments of heroism in that war. There are few lines given from the poem The Charge of the Light Brigade, and the lines are all in the valley of death. Rode the 600. Someone had blundered. There's not to make reply. There's not to reason why. There's but to do and die. The sentimentality of, for example, Little Nell's death in Dickens' The Old Curiosity Shop represents the final scene in a tearful mode of writing initiated in Mackenzie's The Man of Feeling in 1771. More than any other writer, he embodies, especially in his more heroic verse, a certain nobility, peculiarly British colonial unemotional stiffness found in the charge of the Light Brigade and throughout Kipling's more patriotic pieces. It reaches its height in Tennyson's Ideals of the King between 1859 to 1891, with its note of nostalgic heroism, and in If, written in 1892 by Rudyard Kipling. Kipling's verse, which uses dialect to express the feelings of the ordinary soldier in India with unusual sympathy and innovative rhythms. This example comes from the poem Gunga Din in the collection Barrack Room Ballads in 1892. Vitae Lampada by Sir Henry Newbolt, play up, and play the game, has been severely mocked for the public school ethos it embodies, but this way of thinking is central to the concepts of duty and conduct of the Victorian Empire builders. Ideals of the King incorporates Tennyson's Morte d'Arthur from 1833 in a series of poems covering the whole tale of Arthur and Guinevere through romance and chivalry to adultery, denunciation, and the end of the kingdom with the great sword Excalibur cast into the lake. Then Tennyson has also written the poem Tears, Ideal Tears, and two lines are given in the book from the poem, and the lines are Tears, Ideal Tears, I know not what they mean, tears from the depths of some divine despair. Tennyson's melancholy is the first sign of a darkening vision in poetry after the Romantics. Victorian poetry moves progressively closer to despair during the century, coming by the time of Hopkins and Hardy to a sense of gloom which anticipates much of the desperation of the early 20th century. Tennyson's career and the parable of the ideals mirror the mood of late Victorianism without the early optimism found in the novel form. If you have any doubts or query, you can ask me in the comment section below, or you can even message me in the social media IDs that are given below in the description box. And do share the video to all those who wants to be the part of this literary journey. So that's all for today's video. Thank you and signing out.